Now, the problem with sharing a story like that is that people have questioned the credibility of that story. They say, how is it possible you could remember a story like that with such detail after drinking so many shots? And honestly, I don't. But we recorded the show. So I know the story very well, you know. She'll take off whatever you take off. She'll take off whatever you take off. She'll take off whatever you take. I know it very well. The question that I've always gotten over the years is, are your stories real? We hear these crazy stories, whether it's about me and Snoop Dogg or Martin or all these different adventures or my son Frankie. People have always questioned whether or not the stories are like legit. And so in my last special, I addressed it. I was tired of people asking if my stories were real, so to prove a point, at the end of my last special that I did, I included a photo of every single one of the stories that I talked about so that people would know the stories are real. And tonight, is no exception. So, did I really get naked on stage? Ryan, hit the button. I'm fucking with you. Oh my God, you guys thought you were gonna see 3D. I'm sorry, I did that for me. I did that for me. Oh my God. You guys were getting stressed. You're like, cabrón, hide los niños. Oh my God. The number one question I've gotten when it comes to my shows is, what is your writing process? My writing process is simple. I do not sit and write out jokes. I am really bad at that. Ask the Oscars. I experience things and then I come out on stage and I share them, and sometimes people laugh, and if they laugh, that's cool, I keep that, and whatever doesn't get a laugh, I work on until it gets, ha. 15 plus years ago, my friend Ivan, who is he's my number one longest, oldest employee. Not old like he's like, hello, how are you? He's been around a long time. He's been there from day one. Ivan's original job was to record my shows using a camcorder. Now, the fact that I'm saying camcorder should be an indication of the timeline. Because I know some of you right now are like, what's a camcorder? Yes, it was the Snapchat of our day. So Ivan would record the shows and then put away the camcorder and the tripod and a bunch of tapes into a bag. It was very bulky. It wasn't a phone, it was bulky. And then we'd go back to the hotel, and then he'd break the little guard off the back of the TV, and then, he'd hook it up and we'd watch the thing. And that's how I would review my material. One night, we go to dinner. Ivan packed up the bag. We met in the hotel lobby, and Ivan forgot the camera bag in the hotel lobby. And we went to dinner. And when we came back, it was gone. And we never recovered the tape. And I know some of you are like, how convenient. The tape of him getting naked is gone. And to you I say, why would I even make up such a story that could potentially hurt my credibility or my image? I don't need 5 minutes of ha-ha. What I need is there to not be a tape. I know that there's footage out there of me doing something really, really embarrassing and something I wish I could take back. And I know that when this Netflix special airs, a lot of people are going to see it. And hopefully the person who has the footage is watching. And I would like to tell that person right now, in your living room, I know you have the tape. I have $50,000 with your name on it. Come get paid. I will tell you, though, that I did not handle the breakup well. She was, in fact, the first breakup, like real. She was my first true love. I'll just say it. She was my first true love. And I did not handle it well. You're supposed to have your heart broken when you're like 12. When you have your first crush. That's when you're supposed to have your first heartache, not in your 40s. It's supposed to be when you're young, when you're little, when you're resilient, you know? You're like, you realize it's not going to work out, so you're devastated. No! And yeah. Not when you're in your 40s. So without divulging too much information, let me just tell you that when everything was finalized, I was at the gas station and I got a text message basically saying, everything's been signed, it's official, it's turned in. And I'm like, oh, wow, okay. I get in the car, I start the car, and then I put it in drive. And that's when it hit. That's when it became real. That's when it was like, oh my God, I can no longer go home. That's no longer an option. I have messed things up. I can no longer go back to what I called home. I have to restart my life right then and there at the gas station. And I had a full-blown meltdown. And some of you know that my tour came to an end a while back, and people were wondering, is it drugs? Is it alcohol? Is it mental health? I was going through my first breakup. How was I supposed to be an effective comedian when I couldn't stop crying? You know what I mean? It was like, it was bad. And you guys have heard the shows before. You know I never bring this up. It was the lowest point of my life. I had never felt so sad, weak, vulnerable, depressed, lonely, everything all rolled into one. And it was at the lowest point of my life that I found that's right, country music. Country music knows when you're sad. Country music knows when you're weak. Country music knows when you're vulnerable and you need something to fill the void. I used to fight off country music. I used to look at country music in the face and tell country, you could take your ache, you break your heart, you keep on moving. But not today. Let me tell you what's going on. I'm in the car and I'm crying so much. My tears are rolling down my cheek and they're blending with my snot. They're blending with my mocos. My tears are blending with my mocos and then blending with my babas, with my drool. I have 3 different fluids coming out of my face at the same time. My neck looked like menudo. It was bad. All I needed was a pinche limón y cebolla. That's it, right there. I am making ugly sounds, and I don't want to hear myself, so I turn on the stereo, and I started hitting buttons, and it lands on the country station. And I knew immediately that it was country music I was listening to, and I did not try to change the station, because I figured, you know what? I deserve to suffer more for the mistakes I made and the people I hurt. So I let it play and play and play and play. I listened to country music for over an hour, and I came to this conclusion. Country music has at least one song that will speak to your heart directly because you feel like the artist wrote the song specifically about you and your life because of how detailed the songs are. Oh yeah, my hat's off to country music singers and artists. You guys, you know how to do something very well, and it's not till you experience a certain time of your life that it makes sense. I'm in that car bawling, and all of a sudden on the radio I hear this. It's been 7 days since you seen her. How does he know it's been 7 days since I've seen her? You just can't get her off your mind. 'Cause every little thing that you do or say is another reason you pushed her away. And now you're sitting in your car all alone. What does he do? Make it stop! And it doesn't stop. It keeps kicking you on the ground, reminding you what a piece of crap you are. You should have gone home and locked the door, but you was outside being a whore. And now you're sitting in your car all alone. So here's the story. So I had done shows before, in Texas, and I had never done a show in San Antonio. So the original plan was we wanted to record a special in San Antonio for the new Netflix show, for the series. So we couldn't really travel too much. And remember, they kept telling us, stay in your bubble, stay in your COVID bubble. Don't forget to stay in your bubble. So in order to be as proactive and just careful, we all went out there together as a team, okay? And then we all basically said, we're gonna do a residency in San Antonio for 30 days. 30 shows in 30 days. And on the last day, we'll record a new special. This way it gives me a chance to start performing again because it'd been over a year since I touched the stage. And so we get there and they gave me the option. Do you want to stay in a house or do you want to stay in a hotel? And I said, well, I've never lived in Texas before, so let's see what a house feels like. So they got us like this fancy Airbnb, and basically, it was Martin, Alfred, my friend Rick, myself. It was like 4 of us. It was like the Mexican version of the real world, okay? So we're all in this big house together. Everyone gets their own room. And so, of course, I get the big room because it's me. And, look at me. No. Yes. So I open up the door. I turn on the light. Click. And I'm like, this is a beautiful room. Wow, look how big it is. And then I notice there's a hole in the wall. And I said, that's weird. So I get really close to the wall. And when I got close, I realized it's not a hole. It's a big-ass roach. And let me tell you, I am not exaggerating when I tell you that cuca was this big. That roach was this big. Now, I have used this unit of measure before to exaggerate. And let me tell you, I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that freaking cucaracha was this big. And I don't want you guys thinking, oh, what, you think you're too good for roaches? No! I grew up with roaches my whole life. My mom and I, we lived in apartment buildings, projects. We always had roaches, but they were different. First of all, they were this big. And California roaches are very different. Okay? For example, when you turn on the light, they scatter. In Texas, he chilled. In California, they respond to sound and movement. Ah! Scatter. I tried my California technique on this Tejano roach. I said, ah! And the roach was like, what? Oh my God, I don't think he's in my room. I think I'm in his. And at that moment, my tour manager walks in the room and she's like, is everything okay with the accommodations? I said, no, the room is beautiful, but look at the wall. Aw, there's a hole in the wall. I said, get closer. She gets up to the wall and she's like, oh, it's a big ass roach. I said, you're okay with that? She said, he's not in my room. She can see that I'm visibly bothered by this roach. So she's like, would you like me to take care of your little friend for you? And it is a little emasculating because I'm a big guy and she's like 5'2". So she's like, move, fool. She takes off her shoes, she grabs it, she gets up on a chair, and she brings it back, and she's like, soy la 69. Bam! Nailed that roach. Threw down her shoe, put it on. I look at the wall, and it kept moving. And I said, you have angered our friend. And she was like defensive. Fool, round two. So she grabs her shoe, gets back up on the stool, and she brings it back. And just as she's about to nail this roach for the second time, that shit started flying. It was a Harry Potter roach. On top of dealing with COVID, the vaccine situation, I come to find out someone was trying to extort money from me. Yeah, and they weren't even family. So chingate esta, watch. I get a phone call from my manager telling me that someone reached out claiming to have video footage of me being inappropriate with models. Yeah, see? Look at it. You guys are like me. Yeah, I'm like, I need to see it too. Now, no disrespect to any woman who has ever given me the opportunity. But none of them were models. Maybe a couple of cochinas from West Covina, maybe. But they were not models. They were not models. They were just good citizens. Thank you. So anyway, they said I had until 9 a.m. to make a deposit of $50,000 into an account, or they were going to release the footage to TMZ and my career was going to be over. When I got the message, it was already 6 p.m. So I had missed the deadline by like half a day. So I was like, well, let me turn on the TV, still, see if I still got a job. And clearly this is the first time you guys are hearing about this because there was no footage. They were just trying to scare me into giving them money. The only reason why I'm telling you the story is because only 50,000? Like seriously, that's what my career's worth? Don't get me wrong. I know when I said 50,000, some of you were like, oh, and it is a lot of money. But if you're going to go after a celebrity, $50,000 is really low. Like, to put into perspective, they did the same thing to Kevin Hart. And with Kevin Hart, they hit him for $10 million. $10 million, which lets me know where I stand on the comedy totem pole of success. There's Kevin Hart with 10 million, and I am like the Groupon of extortion.
Where'd you get your extortion? Got that shit at Ross. It was on clearance.
$50,000. You can't even buy an Escalade with $50,000. That is like a Hyundai Sonata at best, okay? And that's like a base model. Like, you still gotta do this shit to the window, you know? $50,000. But so then, she walks me into the doctor's office. I sit down, doctor walks in, and we spoke for an hour. In a nutshell, what he says is that he wants to take my stomach, which in his opinion is the size of an NFL football, and he wants to cut it and make it the size of a hard-boiled egg. Therefore, you only eat this much and you lose weight with time. Problem with gastric bypass is that if you don't stick to their program religiously, not only will you not lose weight, you will gain weight, and you'll have a series of complications. And then he asked, do you travel a lot? I'm like, I'm on the road 46 weeks out of the year. He goes, this is not gonna work for you. I'm like, I agree, I like 2 eggs. I said, well, what should I do? He goes, I don't know, but this isn't gonna work. So I left the office, I was bummed out, you guys. I get in my car, I was so depressed because I'm like, someone told me I got 2 years to live. Surgery's my last hope. And so I started crying. I was sad, I was in the car, I'm crying. I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do? And the only thing that could cheer me up was a drive-thru. And I know that sounds crazy. Some of you are like, isn't that what got you in that position to begin with? Yes, but it's the only thing that made sense. There's a reason why it's called comfort food. Think about that. Anytime you see someone eating a burger, they never look sad. They always look happy. You might look sad walking in, you might look sad walking out, but when the actual event of eating a burger is happening, life couldn't be better. That's right. My girl told me that I make sounds when I eat burgers. I didn't know. Apparently I do. I'm eating a burger and I'm like, She was like, are you eating that or are you eating that? Think about it. Who's sad when they're eating fast food? I'll tell you who's sad. The person eating a salad watching someone eat fast food. That's who's sad. So I pull up to this fast food restaurant with a big M on it. And the guy in the speaker's like, may I help you? And I'm crying. I'm like, you have no idea. What I eventually wound up doing, you guys, is I started low carbing. Now, I am not eating healthy by no means, okay? I still eat fast food every single day. And people question it. How do you eat fast food and lose 100 pounds? I'll give you an example. I'll go to a burger place and I'll order a double cheeseburger. I won't eat the bread, I won't eat the onions, the tomato, the ketchup. I'll eat the meat, the cheese, the mayo, the mustard, and I'll order up to 3 with like 3 diet sodas. And people go, that's unhealthy. The cholesterol's gonna kill you. I agree. But guess what? Cholesterol is going to take 10 years to kill me. Diabetes is going to do it in 2. Right now, I'm winning by 8. Hell yeah, that's called fluffy math, bro. There's a lot of people mad in here right now. Fluffy found a loophole, yes. So I started low carbing, I started doing yoga, and I know that sounds like a joke right there. Yeah, some of you are like, he means yogurt. No, yoga. Freaking DDP helped me, and then I started lifting weights, and it's kind of hard for me, you guys, because now I have people at my shows telling me, we're noticing there's a little difference. You're a little less fluffy. What's gonna happen if you keep losing weight? What are we gonna call you? What are we gonna call you? I lift weights, call me Buffy, I don't care. The point is that I'm not trying to lose weight for vanity's sake. I'm very secure. The point is that I'm trying to lose weight so I can be around for my family, so I can be around for my friends, and so I can... Oh, and by the way, thank you to whoever brought the chocolate cakes in the back. I got them right before the show. Thank you very much. Very cool. Somebody brought Chico's tacos too. I thought that was great. Now, you guys here know what I'm talking about, but everybody that's watching at home, they're like, Chico's tacos, oh, what the hell's that? It's an El Paso tradition. If you come to El Paso, just know that that's right here. That's the tradition in El Paso. I ran into people in other places like Chicago and New York. I'm like, where are you from? El Paso. And I say, Chico's tacos, and they're like, oh. Like, wow, yeah, that's hardcore. It is the craziest food I've ever tried, you guys. Craziest ever. Reason is, they give you these little taquitos, and there's like a sauce, and you pour it, and like the taquitos float, and then it absorbs. And I never thought I'd see the day where I could drink a taco. Yeah. And you gotta have that at the end of the night. Don't try to freaking plan out events after going, They'll say, oh, we're going to eat at Chico's and then go to the movies. No, don't do that. Don't do that. You'll be sitting there like, hey, this is a good movie, huh? This is the one where Nicolas Cage comes out and... Anyway, he plays the bad guy in this movie, and it turns out really good. Then all of a sudden... You're running by people. They're like... Chicos. El Paso tradition. You know what's funny? Is that a year from now, there'll be people watching this all over the world. Just like the first DVDs in Canada, Australia, and Europe, this DVD will wind up somewhere in Australia, and there'll be people in Australia going, what the hell's Chicos? Crocky, we gotta go. We gotta see Chicos. You watch, man. People freaking out. I say, we must go try Chico's. It sounds splendid. Yes, it does. Drink a taco. I never thought I'd see the day. I'm going to try it. El Paso it is. She walks me into the doctor's office. I sit down, doctor walks in, and we spoke for an hour. In a nutshell, what he says is that he wants to take my stomach, which in his opinion is the size of an NFL football, and he wants to cut it and make it the size of a hard-boiled egg. Therefore, you only eat this much and you lose weight with time. Problem with gastric bypass is that if you don't stick to their program religiously, not only will you not lose weight, you will gain weight, and you'll have a series of complications. And then he asks, do you travel a lot? I'm like, I'm on the road 46 weeks out of the year. He goes, this is not going to work for you. I'm like, I agree. I like 2 eggs. I said, well, what should I do? He goes, I don't know, but this isn't going to work.
So I left the office. I was bummed out, you guys. I get in my car. I was so depressed because I'm like, someone told me I got 2 years to live. Surgery is my last hope. And so I started crying. I was sad. I was in the car. I'm crying. I'm like, what the hell am I going to do? And the only thing that could cheer me up was a drive-thru. No one on this planet is better at meeting people than Arnold Schwarzenegger. He is the greatest people meter I've ever witnessed. And the reason I say this is because when you meet him, he's very engaging. He grabs your hand, he pulls you in, he looks at you in the eyes, and he turns it on. When you meet Arnold, you get exactly what you think you're gonna get. It's awesome to watch. You know? How are you? So nice to meet you. You're so strong. You put my hand. Hey, look at you. This is incredible. Got these lights and this red carpet. This is incredible. Excuse me. How are you? Hey, you're so strong. You pump my hand. This is incredible. Look at you. People are walking away from him, looking at their hand. We got to promote him. Pass. No, no, no. Okay. This past Bonnie at the time. I can't think of it.
And speaking of whores, let me tell you where they put us up at. That's a bad segue. No, there's no whores at this hotel. Listen, I would like to personally thank the promoters for not only making this special happen, but for taking really good care of us. They put us at a hotel that's right across the street, you guys. And you know you're in a good hotel when you get inside of the elevator and it talks. It's one of those, you know?
First floor. Second floor. Third floor.
I'm like, man, she sounds hot.
Fourth floor. Fifth floor.
Oh, yeah. Martin asked me, how far are you going up? I said, all the way. I gotta see how this ends, you know what I'm saying? Oh, man. And by the way, you guys, since the last time we were here, I've had a few things change in my life. Some things happened that were so crazy that I couldn't even believe that it was a possibility. First thing that happened was I had my first ever celebrity death hoax, meaning that someone faked my death on the internet and it went viral. Someone wrote an amazing article that was read by over 30 million people that was so good, even I was like, oh my God, I was so nice. TMZ reported it for 30 minutes until they called my publicist and confirmed that I was still alive. The article said that I had died October 31st from complications of type 2 diabetes. And in my head, I'm thinking to myself, that's a hell of a day to kill a diabetic. You know what I mean? That's like killing Santa on Christmas Eve. 30 million people read this article. No one thought to call me. Except Martin. That's right. Martin was the only one that called me. And I think that was just to verify that he still had employment. I got that phone call. Hello? Martin was like, hey, you dead? No, man, I'm good. I figured you would have texted me. And I would have, because that's the kind of friend I am, you know? I even asked my son Frankie, I said, Frankie, did you hear I died? That's what they meant. I go, what do you mean that's what they meant? Well, my friends were asking if you were okay. I go, what'd you tell them? I hadn't seen you. So, well, apparently I died. Welcome back. And that's another thing that's changed, you guys. My son Frankie is now 18 years old and 1 week away from graduation. You guys are clapping, but he's not leaving. I've already asked him, I said, Frankie, what do you want to do with your life? Have you thought about college? Just now. I'm like, Frankie, you do realize that all you need to do is get accepted. I tell a lot of jokes. I will pay for your entire college education, no matter where you want to go. As long as you get accepted. What do you think about that? I say, you know, if you want to go to school in California, we'll make it happen. You want to go to school out of state, we'll make it happen. I said, hell, I'll even do one of those international programs. You know, the ones where you give them one of your children and then they give you one of their children? What is it called when you kid swap? Thank you, sorry. That's right, exchange. Some of you are like, that's called human trafficking. Different program. I would love to do an exchange program with my son, but don't give me a regular kid. If I'm gonna do an exchange program, give me a kid from like a hardcore third world country so that he appreciates all the basic things most American children take for granted. That's why I say, give me little Tombutu. Give me Tombutu. I would love Tombutu, and Tombutu would love me.
Mr. Fluffy,
Yes, Tombutu.
I was wondering, what time do we go to sleep?
You go to sleep whenever you like. This is your room. We sleep next door.
All of this is for Tumbutu?
Yes, all of this is for Tumbutu.
In my village, 2 families sleep in an area this big.
Well, here in America, one big-ass Mexican kid sleeps right here. Enjoy. And then I would take him to like IHOP or Denny's and let him order whatever he wants and just watch him lose it. You know?
This is the Thanksgiving I heard of. Thank you, Mr. Fluffy. Thank you. If there is anything Tumbutu can do for you, please tell me anything.
Can you help me take out the trash?
For you, I will eat the trash.
Meanwhile, my son's on the other side of the world on top of an elephant trying to get Wi-Fi. I love my son very much, you guys. It's just that sometimes he doesn't get the position he's in. He doesn't realize it, which is why I love it whenever he brings his friends over. He brings his friends over the house and they're constantly saying what I'm saying. And as a parent, anytime you tell your kids something, that's one thing. When you can get their friends to say what you say, you can't pay for that. And they're always doing it. You know, Frankie, you're lucky, man. Your dad's trying to help you go to college. My dad wants me to get a job. Frankie, you're lucky, man. Your dad's trying to... In 1987, I had a thing called a Nintendo Entertainment System, okay? Nintendo Entertainment System. It didn't last 4 years. It lasts 90 days. 90 days is what it took for you to hit power and start seeing a flashing red screen. You know the flashing red screen where you have to look at the ground or look away or you have a seizure right then and there? Oh, yeah. And then what you had to do is you had to flip the Nintendo over and there was a silver sticker with an 800 number on it. And you call the 800 number and they put you in contact with someone in Japan who made you feel like a pendejo. Oh yeah, he made you feel stupid. You call him up and he's like, it costs $250 to repair Nintendo. $250 to fix it, but it's $150 for a brand new one. And if you couldn't afford $150 for a brand new one, like we couldn't afford $150 for a brand new one, you had to become a technician at the age of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I was celebrating the fact that I got away with that for so long. For so long. I snuck backstage at Chris Rock. I snuck backstage. Until karma showed up one day in the form of the most extreme fan I have ever had in 20 years of me being a comedian. I had someone who not only made it backstage, this person paid to get into my dressing room. Okay? Yeah, he didn't pay me, by the way. He didn't pay me. I'm an honest hoe. Okay? I made no money that day, all right? Yeah, if I would have gotten paid, you wouldn't be hearing this story. Here's the thing. I walk into my dressing room from the bathroom. I just finished showering up and I'm in a towel. I walk into the room, come to find out later that this man was a very wealthy businessman in the community, okay? And when I walked into the room, he's wearing a very, very nice suit. So when I saw the suit, I didn't give it a second thought because he looked professional. I thought maybe he was the general manager of the building, one of the concert promoters. He could have been someone's agent. So when I walked in the room, my towel, like, can I help you? He looks at me, and it was the most uncomfortable conversation I have ever had. He looks at me and says, listen. I am not here to waste any of your time. Fluffy, I am prepared to take care of you. I will give you a new Lexus and an allowance that's more than what you make as a comedian. Leave with me. I was never more disgusted and offended at the fact that I was not gay. Because finally, somebody wants to take care of me. Do you know how many people I take care of? No one's ever offered me a Lexus, and they should. I felt horrible saying no to this guy. I still think about it. I still have the number. Houston, I'm gonna tell you something, and I don't know how this is gonna go over, but I'm gonna say it. I would be an amazing gay partner. I would, all the way up until that one part, but even then. Have you ever driven a Lexus? Those are nice. Sometimes you gotta take one for your own team. I'm just saying. Now, in all seriousness, not to be funny, not to be disrespectful, let me tell you the reason why I would be an amazing gay partner. The level of communication between two men is so high, I might actually get an answer. There might be clarity and understanding. I might hear a yes, I might hear a no. Do you know how many relationships I have been in where I still don't know the outcome to certain conversations? Very simple yes or no questions. That's what I would do. Something as simple as, baby, you hungry? Well, I haven't eaten yet, so I probably should eat something, but I'm not feeling it right now. But if I don't eat right now, you know how I'm gonna get later. So I guess it's probably a good idea if I start eating right now. But it really depends on the options. What do you think? Ah! What about this one? Baby, where would you like to eat? You hear all the guys? Yeah. Finally! I'm not alone! Everybody's pointing at somebody right now. Guys, am I right? This has to be, you would think that this is the safest question in the world to ask, but it's not.
Well, just pick something. You know me, I'm go with the flow. Whatever you decide is okay with me. You know me already, just pick something.
All right, we're going to Burger King. I don't like Burger King. Why do we gotta go to Burger King? Burger King gives me chorro. Chorro is Mexican diarrhea. How about this one? How do you feel? Really? Really? You want to know how I feel? Well, you know, maybe if you'd pay attention from time to time, you might know how I feel. You might not need to have to ask me such a question because you would already know exactly how I feel. The amount of time and energy I've exhausted to let you know how I feel, and you have the nerve to ask me, how do you feel? Now imagine the exact same conversation between me and Mr. Lexus. Do you know how efficient that conversation would be? Hey, bro, you hungry? Thought you'd never ask. What do you want to eat? Whatever you want to eat. We're going to Burger King. I love Whoppers. Me too. We go to Burger King and we tear it up. We get back home and I ask him, hey, how do you feel? Horny. Me too. How do you want to do this? Heads or tails? It would be efficient. It's hypothetical. But believe me, I still think about it, you know? Especially whenever I get into fights with my girl and she says something like, oh, you think you can do better? Oh, I know I could have a Lexus.